Hi guys, and welcome to another tutorial video. So in today's tutorial, we're going to be looking at how we can create a BMI calculator. So what this basically is an app or a script that basically would allow us to calculate our body mass index. All right, so what this basically does is taking our height, taking our weight, and then just does some calculation, to let us know if we are underweight, normal weight, overweight, or obese, basically. So we're going to be using the objectives here, and we are going to be working on it to build this. Again, this is tilted towards JavaScript, so some things might not directly apply to us here in terms of UI, whatnot, but the underlying structure of the entire objectives and functional requirements will be met with the Python script. And again, this is obviously on easy mode and it's beginner friendly. But if you don't have a pre-existing knowledge on Python, I would recommend you check out our Python course where we cover basic to advanced topics in Python, and this would help you brush up and so you can tag along and code properly. All right, so I like keeping my things in a central repository or in a central file, and I have that inside of this projects folder here. Now you can create your own folder to store all of your project files. This will just make sure that you have everything in one place, and it's obviously going to be easier to share and to backup. So I have the BMI underscore calculator.py file inside of my projects directory, and I have this opened up already in VS Code. All right, so I'll just click on VS Code and you can see BMI calculator open up on VS Code. Now it depends on you. If you have something else for editing code, that's fine. If you're making use of Sublime or any other code editor, that's fine. As far as you know how to navigate through the code editor, then you can tag along. For me, I love using VS Code, and that is what I'm going to be making use of in this tutorial. So I'm just going to do Control and plus just to make sure the whole font is big so everyone can have a better view. All right, so again, I'm going to be creating functions and I'll be creating variables and if statements. Again, if this is something that is new to you, please check out our Python course. Familiarize yourself with the basics of Python, the syntax, the semantics, the structure, context, everything that you need to get yourself up and running with building projects around Python. All right, so I'm going to create a function and I'm going to call this calculate underscore BMI. All right, so this is going to take in weight, it's going to take in height as well, and then the unit, and I'm going to just put a default there and just call it metric. Okay, so we're going to make some if and elif checks here. So we're going to say if unit is metric. All right, so if unit is metric, what do we want to do? We want to say BMI is equals weight. So you can get that. So weight divided by open bracket height and raised to power 2, right? And we're going to make another check again. Elif unit is imperial. What are we going to do? We're just going to say BMI is 703. Now I'm going to explain what this whole code is doing when I'm done, but just hold on, wait, and then we have height raised to power 2. And just do it this way. Else, just raise value error, and here we just say invalid unit. Use metric or imperial, and here we're just going to say return BMI. Okay, so what this function is doing basically is to calculate the BMI using obviously this arithmetics here, and depends on the country you're staying in. Some countries make use of meters, kilometers, etc. For example, to measure weight in Nigeria, we use kilogram. Some countries like America might want to use pounds to measure weight. So the kilogram is obviously metric unit, and then the imperial unit is pounds, right? So that's just the difference. So we're just trying to convert everything to align. So if we're going to measure imperially, we have to be able to like times it by 703 and continue doing the math. So this is just basic math for converting from one unit to another, basically. Okay, so next thing here is we're going to classify the BMI just to say, okay, when we get the BMI results, is this person overweight? Is this a person underweight? Is this person normal weight or obese? So we're going to create a function that will be doing that. So we're going to call this classify and BMI. So it's going to take in a parameter here called BMI, not GMI, it's BMI, right? And here we're just going to say if BMI is less than 18.5. Now, this is all mathematical. I didn't come up with this randomly. This is something that is out there in health class. So you have to go online to verify that these numbers are correct. It's actually correct, I mean, in most documentation. So you just have to be sure and double check. I got this online, so I'm using what I saw online to be able to determine the classification. All right, so we're just going to say return, and here we're going to say underweight. All right, and we're going to have an elif statement here, and we'll see elif 18 point, no, 18.5. So if BMI is less than or equals to 18.5, and BMI is, sorry, if BMI is 18.5, and then it's also, hold on, if BMI is between the range of 18.5 and 24.9, that's what that's in actually. So if it's, okay, so 24, so 24.9. So if it's between 18.5 and 24.9, obviously this is going to be normal weight. So we're going to say return, and it's going to be normal weight, right? So we're going to make another elif statement here as well, so to measure for overweight and obese. Okay, so here we're going to say elif 25 and BMI. So if it's between 25 and 29.9, all right, so we're gonna say that we're gonna say return, and then it's gonna be overweight. All right, and else any other figure here, we just return obese. Sorry, so return obese, right? So what this is doing obviously is going to take the calculation from this BMI, whatever is returned here, then we're able to make the classification using this function here. All right, so we're going to create the main view or the main function and then just call it main. All right, so we can just print welcome to the BMI calculator. All right, so units, and here we'll just say input, choose unit system, and here we have obviously metric, imperial. Okay, so we're going to give them that space answer. Then we're going to strip all trailing space, all right, and make everything lowercase basically. So if unit is metric, all right, so if it's metric, we are going to get the weight, and here we're going to say float, and then input. Here we'll say enter your weight in kilograms, right? Next one here is height, and obviously we're going to get float as well. So input here, and we're going to say enter your height in meters. All right, so I'm going to explain what all these things, is doing when I'm done writing the code. So I don't want to stop and break. If not, we might not really follow along properly to see what exactly I'm trying to achieve. So I'm just going to leave space here for the users to enter. Okay, so here we have a lift unit. So if the unit is imperial, we have to, ask some other type of question, right? So I'm just gonna copy this. Let me just copy this. So Ctrl C, copy, and I'll just paste in here. So we have enter weight in pounds and enter your height. So we're gonna say feet, right? And let's just put this here again. So we're going to get height in feet. So we're just going to do underscore feet. And then we're also going to get height in inches. All right. So height, we're going to also put inches here. I think I'm going to say inches basically. Okay. So here we're going to obviously get total height. So we're just going to say height, if I got that correct. And here we're just going to say height fit, height underscore fit times 12 plus height inch, basically. All right, so I'm going to explain what this main function is doing. I don't want to stop and explain. That would, kind of cut down my train of thoughts. So here we have else, and here we have print invalid units. So here's just start the program. Okay, I'm just trying to go through this one more time again. Everything looks good so far. Here we have BMI, and here we'll just say calculate BMI. So we're going to take in weight, we're going to take in height, and we're going to take in units. Now the default is metric basically. So here we have classification, and here we're going to have classify BMI, and then we'll just put it classify BMI, and we'll just say BMI here. All right, and here we have print function, and this print function we're just going to print like a new line. All right, so here we're just going to say your BMI is, and here's just going to be BMI basically, and we're just going to make sure we configure this properly. So to significant figure, and we'll just put like an F string here to make it an F string basically. All right, so same thing for classification. Health, put an F string here. We'll just say health classification. Here we'll just say classification. Classify. All right, so here we'll just come over here and we'll just do main. All right, so I'm going to go over this one more time so everybody is in the same headspace, right? I know I lost you guys at some point. I'm so sorry. Let's come back again and let's basically walk through things one step at a time. Now we have the first function here which starts at line 1. And this function, what it's doing is it has the purpose of calculating the BMI for us. And this BMI will be calculated based on the metric, just like I said. Some countries or some people make use of meters, and some may make use of feet and inches. Some might make use of kilograms, some might make use of pounds, right? So again, depends on so it depends on the unit of measurement, sorry. So if the unit of measurement is metric, then it means you're making use of kilograms to measure weight, right? So if you're going to be using the metric based system, in order to get the proper BMI, if we divide your weight and height together, if we make the calculations based on your weight and height, then we have to be sure we're doing it the correct way. And this is what I saw online on how you can get the BMI from the metric unit of measuring BMIs basically, or from the metric units rather. Let me say that. We have another unit of measurement called imperial, not metric units. Oh, no, that should be confusing that. Now, this imperial basically has its own other way of measuring BMI, and you have just basically have to times everything we get here, the whole evaluation by 703. Obviously, you have to use your board maths. Python would definitely use board maths to make this evaluation based on priority of arithmetics. I believe that's correct. And then we have else. So this else is just saying that if we don't have the correct metric, we should just, or if we don't have the correct unit entered, we should just return a valid error that says invalid unit, use metric or imperial. And then we will obviously return BMI, and BMI would either be this one or this one. Okay. So we have the second function which starts at line 11. This is obviously going to classify the BMI. Whatever we get out of this calculate BMI will be applied here. And this BMI obviously would hold whatever returns in this BMI. So here it's just going to tell us that if BMI is less than 18.5, then the individual is underweight. If it's between 18.5 to 24.9, then that's the more weight. If it's between 25 to 29.9, that is overweight. And if it's between, and then anything higher than 29.9 is obviously obese, right? So that's how we're going to classify this using this function. Now, the third function here is the main function, which starts from line 21. And obviously, the first thing in this function is the print statement that just prints out, welcome to the BMI calculator. This is just to make everything user-friendly. Now, we have the unit, obviously, which is a variable, and this is taking in an input. It's going to let the user to choose a unit of measurements. Do you want to use a metric? Do you want to use imperial? So when they choose, they would have to choose by typing in the metric or imperial. This strip function is just going to take out the trailing and leading white spaces, in the word, and also take everything to lowercase. Okay, so if the unit is equals to metric, so if what is chosen here is equals to metric, then we want to ask the user to input their weight and their height, right? So in kilograms and in meters. If the unit of measurement is imperial, then we want to get the weight, obviously in pounds. We also want to get the height in feet and the height in inches. So are you like 6 feet 6 inches, something like that? We're going to get that in feet and in inches, and then we're going to get the total sum of. So we're also going to get the height. No, this shouldn't be here. This shouldn't be here at all. Yeah, that was a mistake. So now we're going to get the total sum of the feet and inches, just trying to add everything together, just to make sure we get, a corresponding, or we get like a total value. And this is how you can do the arithmetic. So we're going to say height in feet times 12 plus height in inches. And this is how we can get like a central value to represent the height, okay, of that individual. Then if the user did not impute metric or imperial, then we're just going to return this and just the invalid unit. Please restart the program, right? We have a variable here called BMI and it's going to equal to calculate BMI. So we're going to take in the weights, which is depends on the unit they choose. So they choose this one. We're going to take in the weight. We're going to take in the height, and obviously unit here is what has been entered into here. We're going to take in the unit as well too, right? And once we're done with that, we're now going to classify. Now, once we're done calculating and getting the once we're done calculating and getting the figure of the BMI based on the evaluation that happens here or here, then we can now classify the BMI basically without underweight, normal weight, overweight, or obese based on the input. And I think that's just that basically. And once we get the result from the classification, we're going to print out the BMI, round it up to two significant figures, and also the health classification as well too. Now, line 43 obviously just puts main, and when we run this program, main would be invoked. So that is just a rundown of the whole code, and I hope nothing is confusing. I hope everything is straightforward. But if you're kind of lost somewhere, you can always reach out to us and explain the problem, and we'll be willing to reach out as well too. Okay, so I'm going to run this so we can see the experience and basically just see how everything pans out. So I'm going to click on this play icon here, and I should see welcome to the BMI calculator and choose unit system. So if I should enter metric. All right, so enter your weight in kilogram. My weight in kilogram should be 86, and my height in meters, I think 185 or something. Let me see, 185. Enter. Your BMI is zero. That weight. Nah, hold on. Let me just no, it can't be. Let me do this properly. Let me quickly convert my weight into meters from feet and inches. I'll be right back, you guys. All right, so I got this wrong. This should be 1.905 meters because I'm 6 feet 3 inches. So this should be nine. It should be 1.905, right? So let's run this again and just clear things out, and let's run it again. So choose unit system. I'm just gonna say metric. So in kilogram, I think I'm 86, right? It says kg. In meters, so 1.905. Oh yeah, so the more weights. So you guys see, I mean, there's no way I can be on weight. So the more weight basically, so it says your BMI is 23.70, health classification, normal weight. So that's how you can make your own BMI calculator. I mean, this is actually a very exciting project. I can't even lie because of the medical implications to it, or the medical touch rather to it. Yes, you can obviously extend this further, put in more functionalities as you wish, but you can obviously do this with another programming language while you've done it in Python. And don't forget to share your work with us. Let's see what you've done. Keep us in the loop. If you have any question, any concerns, feel free to reach out to us. We'll be willing to assist you further. All right, so thank you so much for your time, and I'll be looking forward to seeing you in the next tutorial.